Hi, this is Inspiration Daily. I'm Gina Greenlee with GinaGreenlee.com. This is October 31st, 2021, and what I am inspired by today is the fact that I can it's October 31st and it's what is it, 68 degrees? Let me see. What is it? I don't know. I think it's 68 degrees or 70 degrees. And so no humidity. We've got some cloud cover, which is always nice in Florida. And I'm riding my motorcycle in the sun as we head into November. And why does that inspire me? It inspires me because I am living in what I call my RGH, my rightful geographic home. What does that mean? That means that a person may have, let's say a person is born in X country in X town and X climate, but never really quite feels at home there. There is some place that is truly their home, their rightful geographic home. Who comes to mind as someone that we may all know, Tina Turner, the R&B singer, rock star, who actually gave up her American citizenship to live full time, I believe. I want to say Switzerland. And she's married to a man who is German. And I think they live in Switzerland. In any event, she thinks of Europe as her rightful geographic home, and Switzerland in particular, where she lives with her husband, even though she was born and raised in the United States. So that's an example of someone we may all know. In my case, I was born and raised in Manhattan, so it's warm 4 months out of the year up there. When I was a little girl, my mother used to put me in my Michelin Man snowsuit and say, "Go outside," and it would be snowing, and she'd say, "Go outside and play," and I'd look at her at 7 years old and I'd say, "Why?" I'm not into cold weather. I never was. It was just not, I do not belong. I knew genetically that I do not belong in cold weather. Yeah, but I spent 30 years in New York. I spent 15 years in New England. And I promised myself at a very young age that I would live in I would live in year-round warmth and sunshine. And for the last 15 years, I've done that. It took me a while to get down here. I got down here in my late mid 40s. But I love that I can wear a camisole and bearskin baby and ride in the sun in October 31st, not be crying because there's a snowstorm in September, when you've had 3 weeks of summer. So when I think, when we live where this, I'm not going to speak about other people. Again, Tina Turner, there are people who have said, who was it? I think it was another, and it just comes to mind. There was another celebrity, the actor James Spader. Some of you may know him. I grew up with him. He is of my generation. I think he might be in his very, very late 50s or very early 60s. But he is probably known to younger generations playing an attorney in Boston Legal on a television program. I've only seen clips, but they're very entertaining. And then he's playing some kind of terrorist concierge, for lack of a better term, in a show called The Blacklist, if that's still on. So that's who James Spader is. If you don't know him, a lot of people also know him from the movie that he played, the what do you, the secretary with Maggie Gyllenhaal. I don't know how you pronounce the name. So why do I mention the actor James Spader? Because I saw a YouTube clip of him on, I think it was Stephen Colbert, and he talked about being from California originally, I believe. Um, and then as a young man, as a young actor, coming to New York, wanting to make his bones, whatever. He moved to New York for whatever reason, I don't remember. And and always felt, and even though I don't think he lives in New York anymore, but he spent sort of what he considers his formative years as a young man and as an actor in New York City. So he always thinks of New York even as his home, his rightful geographic home. So RGH, that's what's inspiring. Uh, Home, where you feel like you belong. When I step outside and the sun's shining in November, I mean, it's October 31st, but for November for all intents and purposes, and I can go out like this and not be cold, and I can feel the sun on my skin, and I can ride a motorcycle all year round. That's what I always wanted to do, and I gave myself that gift, and that's deeply inspiring. Why? It, it because there's something very grounding about feeling at home, and that gives you the foundation, gives me the foundation that I need to then sort of take flight. Um, I have written 19 books, as I've mentioned a number of times, because I've written 19 books. It's what it is. It's a fact, and most of them I've written in my rightful geographic home, and I've lived all over the United States, and I've lived overseas during my corporate years. And a lot of people go to New York, to be an artist. And I lived in Northern California for a while. I've lived in some incredible cities, Chicago, Singapore. Um, but I did most of my writing in my rightful geographic home. That's what I'm talking about um, in terms of the inspiration. So thanks for listening today. Bye bye now. Oh, see, and my face is better. I have a little bit of infection left, but I'm on my last few antibiotics, and I'm doing much better. Thanks for asking.